Hey, welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. It is great to see you this morning. I'm surrounded by bins that I want to dive into right now. But I'm seeing that Buttons the dog, surrounded by five bins. We're never going to get to it all today. I can see Buttons the dog would love to join me, but there's no way he's going to make it up onto this couch. It is surrounded by bins. I will tell you what happened yesterday. It's going to be exciting for all of us. And I've been holding off on looking at this stuff because I wanted to share it with you. Kirsten, great to see you. Happy Wednesday in Vermont. Good to see you, Melissa. Great to see you. Good afternoon. I think it will be a fun show. My eyes are wandering all over this stuff that I picked up, but I thought let's just share it. I had plenty of work to do. It's more fun to look at it together live. Nature Bound. Happy Wednesday from Cape Cod. Well, I'm still dying to know, what part of the Cape are you? I'm going to be out there fairly soon. I forget what I'm doing. Oh, I'm definitely going to be there for the rug show at the beginning of May. I should be out there before then to do an interview at Claire Murray's and in Barnstable. I'm wondering what part you are, and then I'm there for more than a couple of weeks, just so we know each other, from the end of May into June, and then again in August. So I'd love to touch base with you. I've got some Cape Cod projects going on. Exciting. And Linda B, great to see you. Happy hump day to you too. Let's see those treasures. That's it. Betty Knight, it's exciting, isn't it? Good to see you, Betty. Falmouth. Oh, I love Falmouth. I'm usually in Chatham, so that's the opposite direction, but I always go to Falmouth. What's the name of that beautiful house in Falmouth that's near, what is it called? BB's Woods or something, in the theater? There's a big sort of historic house that's now broken into apartments, and outside there's like the sound garden with all of the musical instruments built into the woods. Do you know what I mean? I love that place. I love that place. That's been a great stop for us. So, Highfield, that's it. Thank you. And at one point, I didn't go last year, but the year before and the year before that, I think they had one of those huge sculptures made of, I want to say, reeds or wicker or something like that on the front lawn. Famous artist, because when I posted pictures of my kids in it on my Facebook page, some of my friends wrote and said, "Oh, is that a so and so?" and the name of the artist, and I didn't know, but I knew that it was a so and so because I'd read the plaques. Exciting. You know what else is exciting? Few things. Magpie is coming out immediately, and a lot of people have pre-ordered it. Thank you so much. Fantastic. It is coming. So for those of you who are in Canada and the shipping is coming up very high on Magpie, that could shift. The thing is, international shipping is always problematic, right? And this magazine, because some people are saying, well, it's costing more than Rug Cooking Magazine to ship. Well, it's bigger than Rug Cooking Magazine. That's number one. Number two, we're doing the patterns as inserts. So I'm probably going to have in the back, there's 22 free patterns in this, which will boil down to 11 pages, but it's going to go into like an insert folder in the back of the magazine that sticks. So all of the patterns with this magazine, you actually have them as hard copies in the magazine. That was the best way to do it and the easiest way to do it, and I think the most useful for you too, because you could take out a pattern and say, I'm going to Staples. We're going to blow it up, and I'm doing this afternoon. So there's a lot of moving parts because Judy has had the physical copy in her hand, and it is a high quality magazine. It's got a thick cover. It's got nice pages, right? I'm not comparing it to other magazines. It's everything weighs a little bit more. And the reason that we also offer the electronic version is for people around the world that shipping is a huge thing. But that's a watch this space. If you're in Canada, watch this space, because it might be that once I have it in my hand and I put it together, it's just under a pound. And then that would be great. But you have to appreciate, if it's just over a pound and I guess wrong by a few ounces, it could literally cost me $30 a copy to send it to however many people bought it in Canada. And that would be crippling for this small business, a one person business. So I have to be careful. It looks like it's at the pound mark, and it could go over or under, and I'm trying to encourage it to go under. And that could also be helped by the kind of printing that I have the sheets done on. But I have to, Judy and I are both sending respectively from our different businesses for this moment. So I have to make sure that we also match, because I'd love to print out. If anybody has ideas, I am all ears. I'd love to print it out on a thinner paper kind of a thing to keep that weight down. It's not like it's, Architectural Digest. It's not like that kind of weight and everything. I'm going to stop there. But it's not like it's other magazines that are getting thinner and thinner. Do you know what I mean? So that is a to be continued. April, great to see you. I will meet you there for sure. There's so many places we could meet. Maybe, do you ever go to the White Cat in Pat's place in Katuitt? Because I love going in there and hooking and buying some wool as well. That's a sweet little rug hooking store. Karen, great to see you. Good morning in sunny Black Forest, Colorado. And Judy, um, will the patterns work for digital copies? Good question. For the digital copies, I think it's going to be PDFs that are coming. So the patterns will work, but they'll come as a PDF, just like digital stuff that I send to Patreon people. And you've got it on the computer. So when you have a digital pattern on the computer, you say to yourself, and this is what I do too, right? I'm very low tech. If I say to myself, for example, I adapted this pattern to teach tomorrow at the hospital in Hartford. So say I have this and say I want it as, for the wall. This is too simple to want on the wall. But say I wanted it huge, like 40 by 36 or whatever it was to scale. I would put that in the computer and it would print it out over the course of many sheets. You see, even with something small like this, I have it, I don't know if you can see, but it's taped in the middle because it was actually came out as two pieces. Or no, this one didn't come out as two. I accidentally ripped it in half. It was not a rage rip. It was a fiber tape rip. But normally I've got my stuff patched together, Patch Adams style, with a bunch of Scotch tape, and I can do it at home easily. The digital patterns work like that, so the electronic version of the magazine will work like that too. All right. Oh, you're going to see Pat on Saturday? Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm going in the opposite direction. Otherwise, I'd say impromptu road trip. But I'm headed up to New Hampshire this weekend to see my older sister. And I know a lot of you are in New Hampshire. I'm going to have to plan another New Hampshire date up there. I never see my sister. I haven't seen her for years. So we need to get closer and better. And I'm only there for 2 days. But I will make another New Hampshire date soon, I promise. Lisa, great to see you in Jerusalem, Ohio. Oh, good. All right. I think I'm caught up over here. So Magpie is a coming. It's a coming. It's a coming. And I'll keep you updated on everything that we're doing. I think I was just singing that song, Shrimp Boat. I don't know why that would be in my head. But I'll keep you updated on all of that. Make sure that you're working on your projects. Do you have any articles to send in for the next issue? Midsummer Magic? Does that jog anything? Any project that you've done before? Even a one-page thing or a couple of paragraphs? Something that fits the theme? Fantastic. We did cut a few articles from the physical copy this time. We cut things that we cut 3 or 4 things, and I'll have to write to those people. Things that, number one, didn't have illustrations or enough photographs to go with it, and number two, things that other people were working on an element of, like hooking the design that went with it, the free pattern, and aren't finished yet. And all of those will spill over to the next issue. Nothing is wasted, nothing is cut, nothing wasn't good enough. It all spills over to the next issue. This is just the first issue and we're figuring it out. Theme for the next issue, Midsummer Magic. So be thinking about that. That will all be due on May 17th. And then the next issue will be the autumn issue, and that will be the country fair. And deadline for that issue, August 17th, or thereabouts. Linda H., good to see you. Diana, good to see you. Sharon, good to see you. Welcome, everybody. Judy says, I was just thinking if the pattern, if the pattern sent you into astronomical mailing fees, you might offer to send those as PDFs to folks in other countries. That is possible too. That is possible too. I'm going to have to see because there were a lot of orders. I don't want to get into situations, since I am a one-person thing, where I'm doing a lot of fiddly, figuring things out, and then I screw something up and someone's like, oh, you said you were going to send it. I have to be careful. Let me think on that, because that's a great idea. That's a good solution. It's just when there's a lot of sort of unique and customized choices, it's more time for me. And if I screw things up because I'm distracted, busy, harassed, not by you, mostly by children and someone else in this house who's very sweet, then it always comes down to me, and then I always have to make it right, and that's always expensive. So let me think on that. I'm just thinking back to, for example, yesterday when I went out to one of the river towns, Essex, here in Connecticut, because somebody got in touch with me. A lot of people have been getting in touch lately about rug repairs. And oh, I thought I had a coffee here, but I don't. Excellent. I smell it, but don't got it. I ran out there. A lot of people have been writing for rug repairs. I've been trying to figure that out in the rug hooking group too. I could use some help on this. I might just defer to Judy and her group because I'm trying to put together a list within our group of people who I know would like to be paid to repair rugs. But it's too much of a project for me at this moment. It's not a project I would make money on. The people who do the repairs would make all of the money. I would just be doing the deedle dee dee matchmaking part of it, right? Matching the project to the person. And I don't know if I can do that right now with everything else that's going on. So I either need help with that. If anyone wants to say, I got that part, I can keep a kind of a ongoing list of people who, for example, hook in the fine style, hook in the number 3 cut, hook in the number 5 cut, hook only in the primitive style, only punch, like, all different styles. Because the style of the project needs to be matched to the person who's going to be doing the repair. So this is all, there's lots of moving parts. And I wanted to get into the middle of it and just go here, here, here. But for example, 3 people so far this week, and it's only Wednesday, have gotten in touch to say, I need a rug repaired. Can you do it? And I can't do it. I know a lot of you could do it. So help me brainstorm with that too, whether it's here or at ribboncandyhooking.com. Let's try to centralize our efforts. I can also defer people to Judy's page, but Judy's also busy. So I feel like Judy would need the same person in place on her Facebook page, which is repairing and restoring hook drugs. Because that's more geared for people who are like actively repairing and restoring, not people who want to pay somebody to restore. You know what I mean? So in any case, let's think on that. Let me know if you have any ideas on that subject too. Judy, I do like the idea about the pattern thing. I may be thinking about that. So yesterday I had one of these calls a few days ago and I thought, let me run out, right? Because the woman I was talking to, super, super sweet. I could tell by her voice that she felt very overwhelmed. Her mom, a former hooker, going into like memory care place, and there being lots of stuff at home, and it being just overwhelming. So I know a lot of people can identify with and relate to this scenario. It's not just a logistical problem and an overwhelming heap of heavy stuff. It's also emotional and sad and distressing in 100 different ways. So I drove over there because it was fairly local to me, and I went. This is one of these old time New England houses that is over the top, like on the water, dead end road, over the top. Like how does anybody get to be this lucky? But this woman was so sweet and kind. She deserved everything she had. She obviously appreciated the view immensely and was watching the birds and the little creatures and forest folk that came through the yard. She loves it there. She's from there. She loves it there. But for a while, her family lived on Long Island. And this is where I'm leading into the commentary for the show today. So during the time that, and of course I'm not doing names and stuff like that, during the time that her mother was active in rug making, that was the time they lived on Long Island. And I'm picturing this family as like Long Island royalty, right? It's really like they are buying beautiful projects that at least one of the daughters also hooks. And as soon as I got into the basement, right, because it was like, here it is, and I said, you know what, you go upstairs, have a coffee, let me like just deal with some of it, let me try to compartmentalize, put like things together, because as soon as I walked in, I saw 3 like sort of homemade frames that were elegant, right? These are not like boom, 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 like homemade. These are nice punching frames. So I realized immediately we're not talking about hooking, we're talking about punching. And I thought, mid 20th century, Long Island, George Wells. Do you remember George Wells? Past episodes we've done about him. I feel like he died young, but he had a great business in like the 1950s, 1960s, maybe even a little bit later, Long Island, and very, very sort of close in style and proximity geographically to McAdoo rugs. So I realized right away that the patterns I would be looking at and the patterns that were on these giant frames were George Wells and McAdoo rugs. So I thought, okay, great start. So at least I got this. And I know that we're talking about punching, not hooking. Who cares? But there's a difference. So I'm looking at these giant frames because these are full size rugs and the whole rug is on the frame. It's not like it's folded, like the frames are built for the whole rug. So I got those guys up against the wall. Cheryl from East Falmouth, Mass. Oh, another buddy in Falmouth. Great to see you. Foggy. We were just talking about Falmouth and the white cat in Katuitt. Oh, I'm so glad. This is a kind of a different and funny episode today, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So I realized immediately we're talking about punch. And the only reason that's really interesting for me is because of the Long Island part, right? It was like there was this hornet's nest, right? This like American Bloomsbury of rug making on Long Island in the middle 20th century. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. Because as you'll see, as we look, let me show you the rugs that she's working on that need to be finished. They're both, I should have put these into the slideshow. I didn't think of it. They're both punch. It's going to be very hard to see, but just to give you an idea, this one is actually folded over. Let me see if I can show you this on my phone. Oh, where are you? No, this is an animal. Wait a minute. Sorry. This is an, seriously? Seriously? This is an animal rug. I think that this is a McAdoo. Let's see if it comes into focus. Not going to happen, huh? I might have to show you tomorrow. It's a rug with a perimeter. Dang you, phone. It's a perimeter of animals. We've got like a deer, a squirrel, a raccoon, a bunch of characters, tons of birds, cattails, butterflies in the center. It's a beautiful rug, and I'll show you this from a distance since it's probably not going to work too. It's a bunch of birds. Well, that one worked. You see, it's a bunch of birds. This is the not the working side. This is the finished side. Maybe I took one of. Let me see. Maybe I took what? Yeah. Maybe this one is a bit easier to look at. Yeah, maybe that's a little easier. That's the working side. So that's birds and vines. And the mother didn't get super far with these two. This is the finished rug. I found that just sitting out. It's hard to see. But if any of you punchers are there and thinking about this as a project to finish, it would be like it's a lot of, that was like a corner. It would be fun. Let me try this one more time. Maybe it was just, yeah, the distance. Can you see that a little bit better? All the animals around the bottom. So this is like a heartfelt thing for this family because there are two daughters who are interested in rug making and two big rugs. So each one wants one. One wants the animal one, and the daughter that I met yesterday wants the birds. So I set about roodling through stuff and cut myself many times on the frames. Expected, right? So as I was going through stuff, one of the things I found that I didn't take away was another rug that had been started, and it was off a frame. There was at least one more, if not two more, large frames down there, and they're table frames. Do you know what I mean? Like it would be, the legs kick out, and it makes a giant double the size of a card table, and you just work on it. And I guess you just move your chair or whatever, move the table so that you're in front of the section you're working on. I had to be very careful taking these off the frames because they'd been on the frames for 20, 30 years. And monk's cloth. One was monk's cloth, one was rug warp. So I was super careful because she'd also nailed it on at quite a few points. So it had been stretching for a while. So I'm a little bit worried about that part of it, but I know anybody with like basic skills can either do a very simple patch or it's monk's cloth. It wants to stretch back. It just needs to be encouraged to stretch back. So as I was going through, I coordinated. I was only there for about an hour and a half in the basement, but I coordinated the colors because this is all wool, 100% wool. Soup. It's like bulky. It's like at least bulky for punching, and it was so bulky. I noticed that the mom, hey Lisa, Kaz, that's just what I was going to answer. So here we go. I'm going to need help with this. I should have taken a photo. I noticed that the mom, she had Oxford punches, but I noticed she was punching with an older tool, and it's a black tool. I wonder if anybody can name this because I can't. I need to look it up. I should have taken a photo and Google Lensed it. but it's a black tool that has a point on both sides. And the shaft is like enormous because this is bulky yarn. This is not 3 or 4 ply yarn, super bulky. But it was like about yay big, a black handle, and a point with a tip on both sides, different sized shafts. A smaller shaft that was more like an Oxford regular, and then the larger shaft that she seemed to be using all the time. And I think the reason she wasn't using the Oxfords was because this yarn that she got at George Wells, and she was dyeing her own yarn. She had some of it, I think it was the George Wells yarn. I mean, this is like a time capsule, but she had bags of natural. And she had done a lot of dyeing back in the day too. So I expect to find some dyeing stuff, I hope, in here. And I'm curious about that part of it because I'm a big dyer, as you know. So yeah, so that was curious because she was using the George Wells yarn, it would not fit through even the regular Oxford punch. It's way too big. Interesting, isn't it? Because we've already got some problems here. We've already got some drama. So things not quite matching up. So with that in mind, like I said, I organized a lot of the wool. I'll probably end up buying the wool for her. I can't from her. I can't really use it for my business because there's not enough of one color. There's like if there's a huge Tupperware thing of just orange, there's 30 skeins in there. 25 of them are different colors and a couple of them are doubles, but none of them are 3 or 4 skeins. So for me, kit wise, that doesn't work. This would just be for display and for me to know, okay, George Wells wall, because I do have a George Wells that I've been working on here and there. George Wells wall with original yarn from his shop. Like in my mind, that would be amazing, right? This like vintage vignette. But it's not super useful business wise because I can't replicate it. So I was looking at that stuff, and I'm going to start with something I do know that I have. She had a giant box of patterns. Now, Craftsman's punch needle. Um, okay, Karen, I'll keep that in mind too. Um, Let me look at, hold on, Kaz. Let's look at what the Craftsman punch needles looks like, and let me see if that is it. I can't picture it. Hold on, needle, and let's do a visual, and let's see if that is what it be. I will show you. Craftsman. That's it. That's it. You got it, Kaz. Got it in one. Craftsman's punch, 1/4 inch to 3/4 of an inch. Let me show you. I just did Google search that this is the tool that she was using, and you can see. I think the photo is a little out of focus. That's as good as it gets. You can see this is a super large shaft punch tool, but this is the one she used. I mean, the place was littered with Oxford punches in boxes. So she obviously figured out that they would snag because the needle was too narrow. So she found this tool and moved to this tool. I don't think you can get Craftsman's anymore. I don't think so either. I think that's an eBay job. I'm sure they come and go, but I think that is an eBay job. And that's good information because whoever finishes these rugs might need that needle to do it with because the yarn is just not going to go through the Oxford punch. So already interesting, right? And just the fact that this is a woman who took private classes with Kay Fassett, for example. So for needlepoint, she had. She's still alive, right? She's just not doing the craft anymore. She had the best of everything, and she, because of her being on Long Island, her rug making went in the direction of McAdoo and Wells, right? It didn't go toward that Pearl McGowan school. Out of all the patterns that I found, there was not one Pearl McGowan. She had 3 or maybe 3 to 5 Joan Moshimers that are patterns I've seen before. Here's one right here. Let me show you. Oh my gosh, you know what? I didn't realize it, but I do have the box of patterns. I do have the box of patterns. So a lot of this stuff mice got at. But with these patterns, I'm going to look at them as time allows because some of them might be rare, hard to find, whatever. I mean, obviously I can't sell Joan Moshimer patterns that have mouse holes and copy them because I think they're all at Cushing. So like for example, this is one that was started. Let me get up. This is one that was started. Oh, this is from Quail Hill. It just has, see, when I see the red stitching, I assume it's Joan Moshimer. This is a Quail Hill design. Let me push, wait a minute. I'm going to do some of this. Let me do some of this. This might be tricky because I'm at home. Don't get seasick. There we go. Let me see if I can do a little bit further back stuff like this. So Quail Hill, right? This is one that she had started. I know I'm standing up. Just give me 1 minute. Here's another one that she'd started. I'm not going to go through all the patterns. There's a whole bin of patterns. I honestly didn't realize I had those. I think the lady who I was meeting with, I don't want to say her name, but oh my gosh, but she, I think she probably put it in the car because I definitely didn't take this. Now, look at this image that I'm showing you here. This is monk's cloth, and it's kind of funny, but we can all relate. There's so much blood on the back of it from the frames with the frames have carpet tacks, right? All the frames that she was working on. All of these patterns, her daughter believes that she didn't do original patterns. She liked to buy, let me come back to you here. Can you see me here? Let me stay on green screen. She liked to buy, it's going to be tricky. You're going to see some mess in the back. That's as good as it gets. She liked to buy nice commercial patterns that she liked and to work them. Same with her needlepoint. So these are examples of that. But what was really funny to me, and maybe somebody else can answer this better because this is like a huge question mark in my mind. She had this big thing of patterns, right? And they all are gridded like this. Like you see how she's drawing on it as she goes? She also had a tub of rolled on kind of like parchment paper. What's that filmy paper called? Big scale, that you can kind of see through a little bit. She had tubs. I centralized them into one big, almost like architect's plans, of patterns. And I didn't have enough time yesterday to see if her patterns matched. Let me show you another one. Let me just fold this one up to see if her patterns matched these things that I found, like on the backing fabric. Because she was buying patterns that either she drew herself because she had the rolls of papers with the drawings. I mean, we're talking about big, really big patterns. That's too big, maybe to take out. Let me just show you part of it. So she's doing all floor-sized rugs, right? And somebody is drawing them onto the backing for her, and making notes like here's the robin, and I'm assuming that they correspond to these rolled up drawings, because it's literally a full tub plus the ones she was working on plus a whole house full of ones that she finished. So she obviously did a lot, but I'm not seeing. Quail Hill was one, and there were a few Joan Moshimers that the mice had eaten through. I think I left those there inside a Tupperware thing, because they're still beautiful patterns that have not been worked, but as luck has it, mice chewed through the center fold. You know what I mean? Through like all 4 layers. So I don't want to throw anything out. I didn't put anything in the throw out pile at all, because I just wanted to look at it first and get a feel for it. This is our history. So I was curious about that. I was curious about the idea that somebody who could have anything and who could afford for things to be all set was buying. There's a lot of blank monk's cloth in that bin too. Was buying stuff, vellum, thank you, Linda, was buying stuff that then either she had to draw on or someone was drawing on for her, but it was not coming, these big rugs were not coming as a commercial pattern. That seemed odd to me and mysterious, because at least now, fast forward 50 years, we buy patterns that are done. Like, you don't buy something and then grid your monk's cloth, if you're buying it from the store, and then say, okay, this is like 12 by 10, but I'm going to have to figure it out on my own. I'm just wondering what that process was. Whether, for example, at George Wells Studio, someone would be like, okay, you want this rug? I'll draw it for you. And then they drew it onto the backing, but then why did she have all the rolled up pieces of vellum? You know what I mean? I don't get it. I'm going to keep an eye on the thing, but that was another big inconsistency for me. Her daughter didn't know. Because I said, it's one thing if someone does a custom pattern for you, but then why would you have the drawing? They would keep the drawing. Wouldn't you think, if it was their pattern and the person wasn't responsible for any of the drawing part? it seemed to suggest to me that she was doing part of the drawing and she was adapting some of these patterns when she got home. And yeah, totally, like, why not? But I'm just reaching into the box. There's tons. There's tons. Let me see what this one is. We'll look through some of these because I didn't realize I had these. So this she started and she stopped. I don't know why, but just a simple thing like this. Now this looks partially drawn too. She was working on this and she stopped. It's a frog. I get it. You see what I mean? But otherwise the thing is blank. So I don't know. I'm just confused. I'm confused about the process. It's something I want to figure out a little bit more. Two of the patterns that I grabbed two patterns for myself because I had never seen these before. And I wanted a souvenir that I could do of her work if I ever include the mom, like in a book project or whatever. If you recognize these, let me know. This one is on rugwarp. My memory of I know that the George Wells pattern I have is on rugwarp, not monk's cloth, and I know that the ones I've seen have been on rugwarp. Does that mean? Does anybody know? Did George Wells always work on rugwarp? I don't mean his predecessor who took over after he passed. I mean in his lifetime. I'm wondering if this is like oh, this is poly rugwarp. I think. I don't think this is cotton. I might be wrong. But this is called, okay, no, so this is not, this particular one is not a George Well. This piece is called, I'll show it to you, Josh's Letter by Gail F. Horton. I don't know Gail F. Horton. Does anybody know Gail F. Horton? And can you give me like a place and a time? I haven't had time to research since yesterday because my Jocelyn got her face kicked in gym class and we had to go to the emergency room to acute care because they thought she broke her nose and had a concussion. Turns out she didn't. Just saying. It's been busy. So this is all taped on the edges, right? Instead of finishing it off with a serger or a sewing machine. And this is a funny pattern that looks like this, Josh's Letter. All I ask for is a tall ship and a star, that might be the door we'll order, to steer her by. And it seems to just be, I can't get far enough back. You know what I'm going to do? Hopefully, sorry, this is like a high, don't mind don't mind this. This is just tough, right? So this is the pattern, and it is definitely hand drawn. So this one was interesting for me, being someone who grew up in Rhode Island and around Newport, and I grabbed that. Now, this next one, there's no way on earth I'm going to be able to show it all. This one is on monk's cloth, and this doesn't have any attribution. So again, next time I go, I might look at that thing of all the button, shut it. I might look at that thing of all the vellum. This is enormous. So I'm showing it to you bit by bit. Right. It's like a Magdalena, but obviously not. It's got the American flag. This could be like a Barbara Carroll. And I'm wondering if anybody recognizes it. It is enormous. And let me scroll up. See the horse here. And just drawn right on there without any attribution. This isn't the kind of pattern I normally go for, and it's massive. That part with the chicks, I think, is really interesting. But I didn't recognize it, and I didn't recognize the maker. I'm going to come back to you here. There we go. There we go. In control. In control. I can control this now. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Or not. I didn't recognize the maker on... Sorry. Let me regroup. You're seeing too much of the studio space. Hold on. All right, let's do this. And let me come back here because we want to go through some boxes individually. It's really hard to show you all of the patterns. Let's do that another time because I need to be in a place where I can be holding them up like on a table or something and we can really see. They are all massive because, again, this maker was not somebody who did small pieces. Like the occasional welcome mat, but they were all of her rugs were floor rugs. So that in itself, let me come back here. back here. There we go. That in itself is kind of telling, right? We're only talking about enormous pieces. Um, Gail Horton was from Long Island. That was what I was wondering. She started the Peconic Rug Hooking Guild in 1996. Great information, Jay. So everything is Long Island based that we're talking about. Another good piece to the puzzle. Interesting. So she started that guild. Now, I know that this woman that we're talking about, whose stuff I have here, she wasn't in a formal guild. She was in a group on Long Island in the mid 20th century called the Happy Hookers, and they were not a formal guild. Does anybody know anything about that? I'm just wondering. It was a long time ago, and I think they disbanded about 30 years ago, but I'm just wondering. It's good to have Gail Horton. I'm definitely going to do that piece now. Now come over here with me, and uh-oh, no, we're not having that. Let me get my sweater off. We're not having file folders rip my sweater, that's for sure. Let's look into some of these boxes because she's got so much stuff, it's crazy. And I was wondering what she did with some of the stuff I just happened to see. So I'm not going to show you everything. We have got, this is obviously for the edge of a frame, right, to protect it. I haven't gone through this box yet. What is this, like a vise or something? That's got to be some kind of a vise. Now, file folder right here. Let's look at that. That is sitting on top of something soft. Let's see what we got. I'd have to change my glasses. So she's got a lot of drawing stuff like this. She was working on this in 1996, obviously. Interesting. Because she must, that could have been for needlepoint though, right? Because she had all her stuff, being careful too, because there was lots of critters around. Ooh, oh my God. Okay, this is good. We're going to have to look at this together for a show. This is Red Clover Rug. So this was Amy Oxford's brand. She ended up selling the brand. I actually have this rug drawn by Amy. She got permission from Red Clover. Oh gosh. Oh, Amy's in the middle here. Look at this early photograph. Whoa. How fun is that? I'm going to have to, gosh, that's Amy too. Look at that. It's not coming into focus. I'll take some shots and we'll look at it later. Interesting. It doesn't have a year on it. That's making me wonder how many. I'm scared to touch stuff like this, but let me do it. Oh, this is yarn. Ooh, okay, let's take out this whole folder. Class schedule, 1994. Class is taught by Amy Oxford. So she is taking, this woman is taking classes with Amy and at Red Clover Rugs. Okay, but Red Clover Rugs is in Middlebury, Vermont. Interesting. So that's like the class list. Oh, I see. Probably this whole folder is going to be, yeah, it is. It's all going to be Oxford because it's got, it's not Oxford yet, right? It's Red Clover. It's got the prices for the yarns and everything on it. Ooh, I see. Yes, that's what it is. Oh, this is a yarn sample color book. Oh boy, here we go. Includes McAdoo. I never know how to say this. The needlepoint brand, the Persian wool. Paternaean, Harrisville tweed, Red Clover rugs, solid and variegated yarns. And it's got like a sticker postcard of that same image of the kids flying over. All right, you know what? Let me keep this together. Oh, okay, I see. Inside here, there's stuff like this with the various colors, with color assignments. Okay, so that's going to correspond to all of those bins of, well, these are all tips for Oxford people. That's going to correspond to all of those bins of yarn that's in that basement, right? All of those colors. And I got another one of these in here, right? This is like my favorite thing in the world, finding these old catalogs. They're bent, right? They've got some damage and stuff. Sorry, Buttons, I don't think you can make it up here right now. You want to try? Come on. Come on. There he goes. Yeah, a bunch of this stuff is like the yarns, right? Oh my God. Wait a minute. Let me show you this. Yeah, it's all of the colors of yarns, so you knew what you were choosing. Stuff like this, right? It's like flattened, like a fossil flattened. So that is fun. We've got the color assignments, the name of the color, with the actual yarn pieces. So that's interesting. So when I go through the yarn, I will be able to figure out, um, I'll be able to figure out what the color was actually called. Seems like they're giving numbers rather than names, you know, but still I'll be able to make a good sort of assignment. I might be able to figure out what the original background colors are supposed to be for the animal rug and the rug with the birds, right? Because that would be good. And then I found that third rug that I don't think I took a photo of, and that needs a background color too. But it would be good to know what the original color was. What is this? Red Clover, news from Red Clover. 9th anniversary sale. This is a newsletter. Let me see what date this is. It's like a newspaper. All right, this is what I live for. My hands were shaking like crazy. You know, I love wool and I love supplies, but this is what I live for. Yep, I don't want to put her name on camera, but there's a lot. They're showing all kinds of scissors and stuff like that that you could order. So it came like this in the mail, and I'm going to cover the name, but it came like this in the mail. Cool. Postage paid. How cool is that? All right, so this one folder already has got me crazy. There's a third one of these, right? So if anybody's crazy about historical documents the way that there's a fourth one, let me know, because I've got some extras of those. Oh, cards like this with more. This is Harrisville rug yarn, like Harrisville tweed. I wonder if Harrisville still makes, seeing if my coffee appeared, still makes rug yarn. They can't, right? That would be crazy. Look at this. Look at these like handmade cards with a little bit of rug yarn tucked in. This is really beautiful too, color-wise. Really, really beautiful. All right, let me see if we're at the end. We're never going to get through all this stuff. Wait a minute. Okay, that's another Red Clover, hooking supplies. They were selling the Susan Burr. That was a Red Clover ad for Susan Burr. Okay, wait a minute. Here it is. This is, there's a bunch of stuff from Harris Tweed in here. How crazy is that? I did not know that I did not know that Harris Tweed and Harrisville Designs. I wonder if this is the same. Somebody's calculating a lot of purchases right here, right? I know that feeling. This came from Harrisville Designs. Now that's interesting because we've got references to Harris Tweed and Harrisville Designs. So for example, this is a card that went, it was Twitchell Mills Country Knitting Yarns. So this is knitting yarns. These are the Harrisville knitting yarns. You can see they're showing you the different colors they come in. But we did have a reference to, on those two little cards, Harrisville. No, this is Harrisville, to Harris Tweed rug yarn. Now, that is something I have never heard of before. Let's put this aside for just a second, see what we can see. I'm going to have to check some of this stuff off camera. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm going to have to check some of this stuff off camera because some of it might be personal. All right, a lot of mold. I should probably have a mask on. Let's see what this is. What does this say? Institutions. Okay, it says institutions, but it's all rug stuff. So, some finished pictures. Okay. I have the green screen on. That's why it's doing that weird effect. How to use the hooking tool. Rug making materials. This looks like the... Kaz, you are good. Look at what this page says. Craftsman rug needle. That's it. So she, while she was not like trained by a teacher and she did not teach, this is where she's getting all her information. She's photocopying whole books. And this is where she's figuring out how to have somebody build a frame for her, but with legs, right? All of her frames had legs. How interesting is that? This is probably an existing book, but since there is no first page, Doesn't say who wrote it. And there are no page numbers. Interesting. Because we go, it might still be red clover. We go right from there. Wow. Yeah, this is real. Okay, this is what she's got multiple of. That style frame. Um, but dimensions that fit her pieces. Two sheep. I think this has got to still be red clover stuff that they published, right? Pretty thing with sheep, and then it tells you which numbers of yarn to use. Okay, it's coming together. I knew we would get there. Okay. Okay, so she was certified. This certification that blank has satisfactorily completed 41 hours in rug hooking. And this is July of 1998 at the Fletcher Farm School for the Arts in Ludlow, Vermont. And it's signed by Amy Oxford. So I guess they were calling the certification then the Fletcher Farm School of the Arts, not the like Oxford Institute or whatever. Interesting. In instruction for use of potent copying pencil. Interesting. I wonder if all those patterns are done with this copying pencil. By using potent, and that's what it's called, P-O-T-E-N-T, by using potent copying pencil, you can make your own hot iron transfers. Okay, so this is like this thing, like the Sulky transfer pen, right? I use the Sulky transfer pen, S-U-L-K-Y. But this was called the potent. Oh, God, I wonder if they still have these things. Lines drawn on tissue paper, tracing paper, writing or printing paper, or even reasonably thin brown wrapping paper can be ironed directly onto cloth, wood, paper, burlap, etc. Whew! Whoa. Okay, and then it transitions to Quail Hill Designs. I'm wondering if Quail Hill Designs was also on Long Island. George Wells' place is called the Ruggery. I keep forgetting to say that. The Ruggery. It was at 565 Cedar Swamp Road, Glen Head, New York. How interesting. And then lots of notes. Ooh, you know who this is. Right, that is like a thing with the three bears. And then the rugs. See, that's how thick the yarn is. It's super, 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 super thick. It looks like a 2-ply, but it's super thick. Interesting. Yep, this is some action happening with the Three Bears rug. It looks like a stretched version of it, or at least it's cropped top and bottom, and it's just the characters. It's not the Garrett Blue Nose. I know, April, right? This is like, oh my God, I'm gonna have heart failure looking through boxes. Like, it's that crazy. Lots of designs I haven't seen before. These must be early red clover. And again, Amy Oxford sold red clover years ago. Hooking with a Craftsman punch needle. This came from the Ruggery. Right, so George Wells sent out these packets of information that told you how to rug hook with a Craftsman rug needle. Kaz, you're good. You're good. And they're in a pouch that's labeled chicken. So I expect to find a chicken somewhere else. Big sale. Oh, this looks like McAdoo. All right. No, still Red Clover Rugs. So she did a lot of, or Red Clover Rugs did a lot of, I'm afraid I'm getting like the cooties or something like that. I should have a mask on. I'm not going to put a mask on. That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to find little drawings. Now, what's this next folder? The Ruggery. All right, let's check this out. Yep, this is all the Ruggery. Ooh. Oh, my God. So there's a bunch of these in here. It's like the brochure. Oh my God, I don't have this. I've never seen this. There's a bunch. The George Wells Ruggery. Handmade rugs kit supply since 1921. That's earlier than I thought. And it's just, they're showing you finished ones and then by number. Let's look at this together in a show. Holy Moses. Okay, so that's all of George Wells, a bunch of his catalogs. And then a bunch of drawn patterns, a bunch more catalogs. All right. So we'll talk about this. We'll do a fuller show looking at some of these vintage catalogs. Is it normal that I feel like my chest hurts all of a sudden? This is in my mind, right? I'm not suddenly getting like some kind of Rare form of lung cancer, airborne, right? Oh my God. We're gonna have to talk about this in the show because in a larger show, because I bet some of you are gonna want some of these periodicals, and I don't need 5 copies of each. Holy mackerel! There's multiples of this too. It's a much larger red clover, and there's information in there too. And this is dated. Um, I sent Amy a message yesterday. I'm gonna have to be sure that she saw it because she's gonna love this. Shelburne Museum patterns. Whoa, we're gonna have to look at this together. That's one of the categories within the Red Clover book. Chair pads. Oh, this one is the Molly Naitobi from the Shelburne Museum. Remember her state rugs? Don't get me started. Don't get me started. I was supposed to buy 3 or 4 of those this past summer, and she sold them after she told me I could buy them. Don't get me started. But there's a bunch of Molly Naitobi rugs there. That's good for me to know. Tons of chair pads, colors, and there's some instructional. Okay, this is a vein of history that I haven't even seen yet. This is kind of the thing that she's got the table thing that folds, right? A lot of people on Etsy right now saying, I invented this card table. I shouldn't do that voice, should I? Nobody invented it. That table's been around for a while, as you can see. There are tons of catalogs here. Tons. There's tons of George Wells repeat stuff here. So it's almost like she was setting up with all of these copies of multiple copies of everything. It's almost like she was setting up to teach, but her daughter said she didn't teach. She was a teacher, but she didn't teach rug making. Guess what? McAdoo rugs. Nothing is dated. This is coming from Brattleboro, Vermont. Original and custom design since 1972. It's the year that I was born. Heavy wool hooked rugs made in Vermont. Ah, holy. Don't say any bad words, Mama. Okay. Yeah, we'll look at all of this in detail together. It's just a fold out, but it's going to be images maybe that we haven't seen before. Remember the McAdoo rugs were in storage, and there's photographs. There's photographs in here too, like actual photographs. They were in storage, and Amy Oxford bought them at an auction, and she has been ever since then drawing them out because there are hundreds of designs. She's been drawing them out and making them available. And her policy is, because it's a lot of work, right? It's an incredible amount of work getting the McAdoo designs back out to the public and available as patterns. If people, just for your own information, Rebecca told me this, Rebecca Martin White, right, my buddy, she said, for Amy, right, she can't possibly get everything out all in one pop, right? She's been doing the best she can for years with these McAdoo patterns that are rolled up, and that's how she bought them at auction as a lot. And if you know of a specific pattern that that was available once through McAdoo and it's not available yet through Amy, let her know, because she will get that one and make it available. She was so organized, you're right. So organized. More pictures of stuff. Another catalog in here. Okay, this is more George Wells stuff. More catalogs and pages with photos. These have to be McAdoo because I'm recognizing the dogs. These have to be McAdoo. I think they're in the wrong folder. Let me see. Let me put them in the right folder. Hold on. Yeah, they're in the wrong. No, they're in the right folder. McAdoo rugs. Wild yarns. Does anybody know of Wild Yarns with an E? There is also a folder for Wild Yarns. They were in Philadelphia. Pennsylvania. Oh, what? Okay. Holy mackerel. Cranberry, royal purple, what does that say? Wintergreen and cerulean blue. The green isn't showing up because of the green screen, but isn't that beautiful? Wild Yarns. They sent fluffy bits of roving to advertise, and there's a whole, and some of this, colors of yarn and stuff, and there's a whole folder. Uh-oh, what's that? I'm being careful for photographs and stuff. Oh, yeah. Yep. Okay, there's a whole folder. I don't know if they're still in business of their yarns and their products. They look like they were all yarn and roving, right? So I'm gonna keep that intact, and I'm gonna research. Um, oh, this is the rug. This is one of the rugs she's working on. This is absolutely it. All right, this is going to be helpful. Yeah, this is absolutely it. That's one of the ones that needs finishing. Hey, Heidi. Let me see what it says. If we go with the design, if we go with this design, we will have it printed on 60-inch monk's cloth. Which I wonder if this is George Wells' handwriting. We will, oh my God. I'm just looking, it was like, looks like it was a fax or something. And earlier than a fax, like not a mimeograph. What became before a fax? It's like thinner paper, almost shiny, you know what I mean? We'll have it printed on 60-inch monk's cloth, which will give us a 12-inch border all around. Wow, that's a big border, but that was a huge rug, remember? If you want to enlarge the basic design, which is 28 by 50, you would have a rug that was 52 by 74. Border ideas include birdhouses, a garden full of flowers, and then the page cuts off. Something bird's nest of intertwining twigs. This is all handwritten. Perhaps additional vines with butterflies and insects. Holy mackerel. It's not, well, the name is cut off. Look at that. Please let me know over here, ASAP, and then the phone number. But then the name is cut off. Ah, I wonder if that was actually from George. She's got many copies of this. She kept lots of copies of the same thing, all cut off. It looks like it says kind regards or something, but then cut off. All right, some handwritten papers. I'll go through those off camera. Still cut off. Yeah, she went for it in the end. There's a color picture of it. And yeah, this is one of the things she was working on. Some colors of yarn to help choose, right? These are all greens. Oh, and in the same folder, she started drawing butterflies. So maybe she was taking whoever it was up on their ideas of adding insects and butterflies, because, yeah, that's what she's doing. All in this folder, she's got pictures of bees that she's drawing and ants. That's isn't this fun? That's exactly what she was doing. She was taking that suggestion and drawing pictures of insects. This is a bee. I wonder if you can see that. It's weird that it's not showing up, because it's a very bold drawing. Interesting. Yeah, she was busy with the drawing of the insects. Isn't that adorable? And that, oh my God, what? Oh my God. Wait a minute. Okay, so this is this is from the ruggery. Okay, pages are coming apart, so I'm going to be careful. This is some kind of early promotional thing. Quite a few pages from the ruggery. Congratulations in purchasing a rug hooking kit from the ruggery. You have obtained the highest quality of punch needle rug kit available. We only use 100% wool yarn and 100% cotton monk's cloth. Okay, so they are not using rug warp yet, but I know my George Wells is on rug warp, without a doubt. So maybe it is 100% cotton rug warp. Your completed rug will be a source of pride and beauty for you and your future generations. We know you'll enjoy hooking this beautiful rug. It's all handwritten. If you have any, it's a photocopy, but I mean, all the text is handwritten. How fun is that? I wonder if this is going to be a special message, general notes. It's all handwritten. Yeah, it's directions. It's directions on punching it. It's funny because they consistently are saying, we're going to have to go in a minute. They're consistently saying hooking, but it's their punching. And because at this moment in time, there really isn't a distinction between what tool you're holding, whether it's a hook. There's another one of those. And then there's some drawings of cats on this vellum paper, right? So there's some folded up vellum paper that looks like cats in this folder, but this is the stuff that she had endless rolls of. Yeah, she's got many copies of everything. And then she's got, ooh, I wonder if this is like some kind of a thin tool, very thin tool, like a mesh. Looks like she was drawing her insects and some flowers for that giant border. Look, it looks like she drew them and then she was I'm gonna have to compare. Hold on, I gotta know. I want to compare it against that rug, the bird rug that she was working on. I'm wondering if she started to transfer. No, she didn't get that far. She's only got the main, I don't know if you'll be able to see it again. She's only got the main birds in it. But remember, she's got like a 20-inch border. So I think she probably, her next move, once completing it, was to use this tulle material. It's not tulle like ballet tulle. It's a mesh, but it's a very thin mesh, right? Because when you're using mesh to transfer, which isn't a bad idea, you have to pin it down so it doesn't shift while you're transferring. But she traced it onto something. You can see because she's got it the red and the black, right? With the ladybug too, she's got the red and the black. She transferred it to something, but it's not on that piece that this folder is about. God, we didn't get very far, did we? But interesting because she did use it on something. The thing you have to be careful about if you are using mesh to transfer is the whole point is for your pen to go through the holes. And these holes are tiny, so you get enough information. You need to get enough information onto your backing fabric. So it's drawn here. You can see it plain as day. But when it goes onto your backing fabric, you really need to be able to see it well enough. Sometimes the mesh or the tulle, T-U-L-L-E, is so thick that your pen doesn't go through. And then it's useless because if you're not making contact, if you're not reaching the backing fabric, there's not enough information, aka your line drawing, hitting the backing fabric, you'll never be able to piece it together. It'll look like a constellation of points that aren't there's not enough of them to be able to recreate the pattern. So this fabric must be very good for that. I don't know what fabric this is off the top of my head. It's some kind of poly mesh, but it's a super, super fine gauge. I can't resist. Let's, oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. You know what? There are a bunch of, I'm not even supposed to be looking. There's a bunch of, oh, it smells like, not mothballs, but one of those types of things. There it is. There's a bunch of craftsmen in containers. She probably was worried. Oh my God. It's still in the container. This is green. It's one of the pattern pencils that she was just talking about. $2.10 then. Remember she was just talking about this pattern pencil? I think this is it. She's got a few of these. I'm not even supposed to be in this bucket. Yeah, she's got more of these. She's got, I have to be careful, but different different tips for the craftsman. All right, that's a box for another day. I was just going to put this folder down here with this in it so that we could look at one more quick thing before I log off. And then I got involved with that. We saw the clover. So let me put that back in. I'm going to stay on for 2 more minutes. This is so fun. I really don't want to do this without you, so we might have to come back. So she's got some, I'm just looking at this box, because she's got bits and pieces. This is a little blue bag. Don't know what that was for. Maybe the tips. Hand-sized chart. Handy's craft gloves. She must have taken those out of the pack. She's got lots of stitch gauge cards like that. Okay, she's got a sulky ironing pen, and then she's got some empty ones, so I can throw some of this stuff out too. Wonder what she was doing with this, because she's very centralized. She does have tools in here, so maybe I'm gonna have to go through everything bit by bit. Wonder what this is. I wondered if that was like an anti-moth thing. I haven't seen that before. Judy, early fax machines used a roll of paper that was shiny on one side and flimsy. That's what it looks like. It is shiny on one side. So maybe that was a fax that was coming to her. Interesting. Oh my God. Do you remember these it's green. Do you remember these markers? With like, I have to show you when it's not so green. And here's another one of these pencils still in its pack. Interesting. Oh, she's got so much stuff. Oh, she's got some nice bent scissors in here still in the pack. All right. She's got a bunch of the Amy Oxford punch needles. So this one is a number 8. It's in there. And the gauge cards are coming from the Oxford punch. And this is a number, looks like a number 10. So she's got those two. She's just not, she's just going for the Craftsman instead. Yeah, what's going on here? Can anyone tell me what's going on here with all these guys? What's all this about? Is that like to make a frame or I mean these are really small. I don't know what's going on with that. What's going on with this? It's like a two-sided thingy. Huh, I don't know what that is. Okay, maybe oh, maybe these well she's got a bunch of book chart extension arm still in the package. But that's all it was. Yeah, and then she's got stuff like this. I'm going to have to, see, I don't recognize some of this stuff. We have such different tools now. Obviously, I recognize this as being the beginning of some kind of a frame. But we have such different tools now that, yeah, more of these. Now, where are these guys coming from? MTABT, Staten Island. Gosh, this seems like it's going to build some kind of a frame. I'm going to put them all back in here. They didn't come out of there. They fell out before I got there, but it seems like they ought to go in there. Uh-oh. All right. One more minute. Oh my gosh, look, she's got a bunch of punch needles. Look at, these are all different size needles, right? This is just what they want you to do is buy one in every size. All right, those are all punch needles. It's another one of these guys. So let me know if you know what that is. Let me put all the punch needles together. And another one of these guys. That's exciting, isn't it? If I find somebody who can do these 3 rugs now, I will definitely send a Craftsman punch. So you have your own that's still in the package. We'll figure out who can do that. And I'm looking at this box now. Cute little patterned box. You put all the stuff away. Okay, what's she got going? Okay, she's got a locker hook that she hasn't used yet, right? For the craft of locker hooking. She has got a Quail Hill, a highly desirable. I'm keeping this. Quail, I think I'm keeping all of this. I mean, this except the doubles of stuff. Then I'd be very happy to share it. It's a flat hook, right? I love flat hooks, and it's a Quail Hills design. Why is that not showing? This is yellow. Wooden hook, but flat shaft. That's my favorite. Get rid of this before I hurt myself. That's in there. She has got, ooh, what could that be? Okay, she's got a little, this is either a Claire Murray or Joan Moshimer. I think it's a Claire Murray because it's got the brass top, right? Claire Murray did like that golden color. Stuff like, this is a little green doodler. Oh, she's got a little clear. Oh, this is one of those fabric value things, filter. Yep. She's got this little guy for checking the value of your colors. You know what I mean? It's a fabric value filter, right? It's still inside its little package. Bunch of markers, right? Because I could see that she was doing, what the heck is that? I could see she was doing, oh, nice. Oh my God, I've been wanting one of these. It's like a giant Hartman hook. I was told by Door yesterday, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, that they're not making the Hartman hooks anymore, and they are like super back ordered on them. So I'm just going to put it out there. So yeah, that was news that just came in, but I am definitely keeping this with that in mind. This is for super primitive rug making. Look at the size of that thing. How big is the tip though? The tip is the tip. Oh, it's not a rug hook. It's like an awl. It's like a Prati tool. Yeah, it's a Prati tool. Still super fun, and it's all brass and very heavy. I was thinking it was a Hartman hook. Yeah, those are markers. What the heck is this thing? It looks like it's for contact lenses. I'm afraid to touch things that I don't know what they are in case they have like razors or something. Is this for contact lenses? The kind of thing that opens like this? What the heck is that? I just unscrewed the top of it. I'm going to leave it alone because I'm just not sure. It's quite heavy. And it's got a button right here. I'm pressing buttons and I don't know what they do. That's not a good thing. Let's do one more thing and then I'm going to log off because I got to work on those patterns for the hospital tomorrow. um, what is in here, right? This looks like a nice hook. It's wrapped up in newspaper from April 4th, 1996. 1996 seems to be the date that the rug making stopped. It's like the day the music ended, right? I hate to even rip the. It's just newspaper, right? Ooh, I wonder what this is. It seems like there's multiple things in there. She wrapped them up to be careful. I wonder if we're going to be. More of these. These look like interchangeable craftsman nibs, right? I think that's what it is. Let me put them. Let me put them in here. I think she's got a bunch of different interchangeable nibs. Yeah, she's got tons of them in this one little pack, right? They all look like they're the same. Nope, they're different sizes, slightly different sizes. Interesting. And Judy says, "Oh, I think I remember a contact case that would be inserted into a cleaning machine. Oh, maybe that's what that was." Yeah. Yeah, this is a bunch. Let me put this one back in. But these are a bunch of, where'd it go? These are a bunch of these nibs. So it's good that she put them in there because they are sharp. Right? They're sharp enough to make a rug with. Okay, so we basically got through 1.5 boxes. That's really one box because I had it piled together. This is so fun. Man, I found some treasures in here. So much fun. So much fun. We'll have to see what is in all of these other. Let's just look at this. What's this? Plastic geometrical shapes and templates. You know, this must have been for designing. It contains 18 yellow plastic shapes, each printed with its name, made in England. Plastic. Do you see what I mean? Interesting. Ooh, okay. I wonder what she was doing with these because it seems like she wasn't. It's driving me crazy. Sorry. It seems like she wasn't much into the design. Oh, yep. She wasn't much into the design part, but she did have little bits and pieces. Make sure that all of these shapes are in the box. And, oh, I see. And it says which shapes. It's so weird that, I mean, it's yellow and blue. I don't know why it's not showing them to you. But they're individual shapes that say square, trapezoid, regular octagon. Wonder what she, I mean, she had them in her rug hooking box, so she must have had some ideas of using them somehow. That's a nice little thing. This cost $16 back in the day. That's a lot, isn't it, for this little thing filled with plastic shapes? It doesn't look like it's for quilting. It doesn't say it is. Philograph Publications, Ltd., Andover, Hants, England. Interesting. All right, I'm going to leave the rest alone, although it's hard to stop. I'm going to stop. I've got lots. That would be from a school. I see. Yeah, and Kaz also said for quilting. God, she's got so much stuff. It's crazy. Teaching kids shapes. I see. Okay. So maybe this crossed over to her teaching career. That's possible. And she just put them into maybe she put them into the craft box just thinking maybe she'll use them for something. Yeah, she's got tons of, I'm peeking. I'm not going to peek. I'm going to wait till next time. Oh, I forgot there's something right under me. One more thing really fast. I'm just seeing this on top, so let's just look at it quick. This Harrisville Designs. Okay. So remember we were trying to make the distinction at the beginning between Harrisville Tweed, which she has some of, and Harrisville Designs. This is Harrisville Designs. So, for example, this is a book of, dropping stuff out. Right, these kinds of little guys with, no, Harrisville Designs must have been an umbrella company because this says Harrisville Tweeds. And this is Harrisville Tweed. And this is Harrisville Tweed. All of these little bits of yarn. Interesting. It's showing us 2-ply. It's a whole catalog that's showing us. So Harrisville Designs and Harrisville Tweed are synonymous. So interesting. And this is coming from New Hampshire, Harrisville, New Hampshire. I know Harris Tweed comes from England. That's why I'm confused that they're allowed to keep saying Harris Tweed if it's actually coming from Harrisville, New Hampshire. This is interesting too, and then I'm stopping. Let's just look at this really quick. So it's showing us at the beginning like this sort of weight, right? This is like super, super fine and whatever, 2-ply, right? It says it's 2-ply. And then as the book goes on, we're getting into, this is still really small 2-ply. And then as the book goes on, we get into way thicker. Let me get you away from the green because of the green screen. Way thicker yarns, right? So this is the kind. These are not high twist like the George Wells ones, but they are super thick. Um, these yarns are packaged on half pound cones in 100-gram skeins. Half pound cone measures approximately 250 yards. Okay, so they're calling these carded fleeces. Interesting. It's interesting. And then a bunch of Harris tweed swatches. Yeah, and then they're showing us, for example, Twitchell Mills is showing us the different kinds of nubby tweeds versus solids and heathers. So obviously she is making rugs, shopping at George Wells in person, but she's also got lots of feelers out with all of these other wool manufacturers and mills at the time. I'm guessing, sadly, many of these are defunct now, but she's got lots of feelers out with other places, and she's shopping other kinds of yarn. That's interesting. I am going to have Mayflower yarn. Here's another one. Holland Spinneries. I'm going to have a lot of research when things quiet down again. Oh, look, she got involved in this too. The Friendly Loom. They're still around. Right, with the little miniature looms to do pictures with. They used to put out little kits and things. I sometimes see them on eBay still. Knitting with yarns. So you know what's remarkable? These are all repeat catalogs of the same thing. You know, and these are the cones that they're talking about. You know what's remarkable? This is an age. This is the Pearl McGowan era. This is an age where rug hooking, right, is kind of winning over punch needle, but she is a punch needler, and she is deep into it, right? And it's interesting because she has already gotten that into that mindset where she's like, great yarn for weaving. Oh, interesting, Cece. They are still there. They are still there in Harrisville, New Hampshire. Cece, thank you so much. Oh, I'm gonna have to check that. Oh my God, I'm going to New Hampshire this weekend. I wonder if I can check that out. I don't know where Harrisville is. I'm going to be in Wolfboro, so I'll have to check out how close that is. CC and rug punching. Whoa, that's interesting. I'd love to go by there and get some of their now materials. But isn't it interesting that she is hooking in what looks like punching, right? And we're still saying hooking. Looks like from definitely the 80s and 90s. Because she's shopping George Wells ruggery, and she's shopping McAdoo and Red Clover. She is having patterns transposed for her. She does keep the vellum. Maybe she figures out how to do it, and she starts doing it on her own with smaller projects, because all of the vellum rolls that I saw in the basement were much smaller than this. So maybe she figures out what the process is and figures out how to do it herself. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? I want to figure that out. There might be a chance that I get to speak to her. Her daughter says it really depends on how she's doing, you know. But typically in these situations, sadly, obviously, people have a great memory about the past, just not so much like this morning kind of thing. So it might be that she wants to talk about her rug projects and her punching and all of this stuff. And if so, I would love to chat with her. We wouldn't obviously do that on camera, but it might be fun. It's interesting to think through what her life was like. And as someone coming to rug making from needlepoint and I guess a bunch of other crafts, she finds punch and she finds yarn, and now she's researching other mills, and there's no internet, right? She's writing away for catalogs. She's getting multiples of each catalog. She's realizing what wools are thicker that she might want to use that are interchangeable with her ruggery supplies so she can complete her rugs. This is an interesting story. We haven't even scratched the surface. I mean, not at all. This is going to be the living room for a while. Wolfboro is about an hour and a half from Harrisville. Is it more north or more south? Or I'll have to look on the map because I'm going to have the family with me too. So it's like, yeah, they love it when I make stops at yarn supply stores and mills. So All right, let's see how it goes. Sorry, I'm so excited. I'm getting noisy. I'm going to hold the rest of this stuff because I need to do other stuff and get ready for teaching tomorrow. 16 people at Mount Sinai Hospital in Hartford. We are overbooked because it was supposed to be 10, but no problem. The more the merrier. So I'm getting ready for that. I'm going to just put everything away and we'll look at it again next week. I won't be able to run the Friday show because I'm going to be traveling on Friday night, but we can look at this stuff together next week, see what other catalogs we've got. I can see dyeing stuff peeking out, so I want to talk about what dyes she chose, what colors she had back then. Let's talk about all that on the Monday show. I will see you Monday. Sorry, I won't be with you this Friday. And remember, next Friday, not this one because I won't be with you, but the next Friday, I will be with Robin Whitford and we'll be doing a live Zoom on Friday night. But in the meantime, I'll be with you on Monday and Wednesday, and we will finish going through this mountain of treasures and seeing what we can see. If you have any thoughts or ideas after this episode, write me at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com because a lot of this stuff is mystery stuff to me too. And I really want to know what it is and just firm up this moment in history. The Long Island punching scene, from the 20th century. I'd love to firm up some of this pattern knowledge, tool knowledge, all of this stuff. I will see you next time at Ribbon Candy Hooking. Thank you so much. Monday, noon Eastern Central Time. I'm leaving the boxes as they are until we're